Hey guys, Rosu here. So I found that I really enjoy making the commentary videos, going over the raid or Mythic Plus or something. And today I want to talk about a +10 City of Threads I ran earlier today. We timed it, we did pretty well. The group was really good. You can see here was our DPS meter. I beat out the mage just barely. It was really fun. So first, I want to show you what my damage breakdown was like. I've never gone over this. So maybe when you're doing a key, you can see if, your agony is a bit lower or your UA is a bit lower or something. You can compare what your damage looks like after a key, what mine looks like. What percent was your rapture? What percent was your agony? This might help you keep your uptime. See, my agony, I had 94% uptime pretty much. Could be better. Not bad. This key, I was using the Mad Queen's Mandate Trinket and Spy Master's Web. I've been over these before. You'll see in my breakdown that Mad Queen's Mandate was about 4% of my damage. This trinket is really awesome for this week's Affix. When there's the ghost that spawns, it is really good for killing that ad. It's awesome. Also, one more thing. Let me show you my talents real quick. I changed my talents slightly from the ones I used in my Necrotic Wake video. Instead of having 2 points in Malediction to increase the crit chance of my dots, I put 1 in Improved Haunt, because I actually really enjoy having Haunt apply Shadow's Embrace. That's just really nice. And then I put some in Contagion, just so my critical strikes on my dots do more damage. My gear, I have so much crit in my gear, and if I have my Flask stat into crit, I have like 32% crit chance or something. So increasing my critical strike damage seems much better. Especially because when I have Soul Rod up and I'm using this talent, like I always use, I'll be having even more crit. So instead of increasing my crit chance even more, it's kind of unnecessary, I'll increase my crit chance, my crit damage a little bit. And I'm still running Shadow Bolt. Shadow Bolt is fire. I'm a Shadow Bolt enjoyer. Drain Soul is nice, but I don't know. I really like the mobility from Shadow Bolt, and I like how easy it makes it to maintain Shadow's Embrace on somebody, even when you're dealing with mechanics. Really cool. So, let's go ahead and get into commentary. Okay, so for this key, before I even start, going into this key, I see that I've got a mage, and I've got a demon hunter. So I've already got 3% increased intellect from the mage, and then the demon hunter applies a debuff called Chaos Brand, where enemies take 3% increased magic damage, which is awesome. So I'm already, having a decent buff to my damage before we even start. Plus the shaman's mastery buff and the druid's verse buff. This group is awesome. Just the class distribution is great for me. So we're going to go ahead and get started here.
5,
One thing to note,
4,
like I mentioned in my Necrotic Wake video, before the key starts, if you press Fel Domination, keep the buff after the key starts, and it won't go on cooldown. So it's always nice just to summon your pet quickly without a soul shard, and it's very convenient.
2, 1.
So I use Fel Domination, I have the buff, and I summon my pet really quick.
Lesson of the void.
So in this dungeon, the first few packs, there's these mobs who cast a web bolt, and the web bolt hits really hard. In like a 10 or 11, it'll damn near kill you. It hits really hard, maybe 70-80% of your HP. So it's important to kick those and group the mobs up. One thing that's really, really cool about Warlock specifically is that our kick is not tied to us, it's tied to our pet. So when you're casting stuff, you can kick while casting. But one cool thing I don't see other people do is that you can kick while you're mounted. So I'm going to, I think it's this one here. It's going to start casting, and I don't want to pull aggro, so I'm not dismounting and dropping agony yet. It's probably okay to do that, but I don't. But I'm going to kick him while I'm on my mount.
Our friend awaits you in the high hollows.
See, I'm still mounted, and my kick's off. I kicked it. Pretty cool. Then I go ahead and start applying agony to build up some shards. We get them grouped up as much as we can. And I go ahead and apply my dots here. I was trying to use full shards, so I didn't waste any when going into using my soul rot, but I kept getting procs, so I figured I'll just send it, and I'll waste the soul shard. I used Mad Queen's Mandate there. Kill the ad. You'll see me using that trinket a lot this dungeon. I used Mad Queen's Mandate, I think 19 or 20 times. Quite a lot. This mob, he does a lot of damage. When he has this Ravenous Form debuff on you, it's best to group up with your team, closer to the healing. You notice I'm standing right outside the healing range, so I'm sure the shaman hated me for that. I really don't like getting close, even though I should. I lose uptime on my damage.
Open your mind to the whispers. Embrace.
We have the Affix spawning here. My Mad Queen's Mandate's coming off cooldown here in a second, so I'll use Mad Queen's Mandate to kill this. So this pack we're walking into, you can't see it over here. This pack is pretty scary. It's quite a scary pack. The tall mob, he has a channeled ability where he targets somebody and channels like a drain, and it does so much damage. It'll kill you in maybe 2 or 3 seconds if it's not kicked. And then he has casters around him who are also casting the same web bolt from earlier. So those also have to be interrupted. You can stun them, you can kick them, whatever, but you have to stop these casts from going off. So having a cooldown for damage to going into this, Shadow Fury or whatever, just making sure these casts don't go off is really important. Otherwise, you will get clapped. This Twisting Thoughts ability, yeah. My kick's up, so I'm saving it for using something. And by that, I mean I'm not kicking anything. You'll see the shaman took a Shadow Bolt to the face, and he almost died. 89, 70. Yeah, 16. Took a lot of damage. I was focusing too much on the affix there, so when I applied my dots to these ads, it was just real scuffed. I just wanted to make sure I used my CC to stop them from casting, and I wanted the affix to die too, so I didn't apply my dots before I did damage. It was a bit weird. When you get this debuff, it gets dispelled and shoots out lines in a circle. Not a circle, actually. In 5 different points. Make sure you don't hit your team. This pack, we have the same big caster ad, who has to be interrupted, but he's the only one. So just make sure you have a way to target him, interrupt his cast. Then we have the same big guy from earlier, who does the big AoE damage, where you should stack. But I am, as always, far away for no reason.
Embrace who you truly.
And I go ahead and use my cooldowns on this pack, just because they're up and I want to use them. I know the boss is right in front of us, but I'd rather just use them on cooldown here. Definitely can be argued, you know, you should save them for boss, because we have less coming up, and I don't know. I use my trinket to kill the ad. This boss has a few mechanics that are going on with him. That same 5-point debuff I had a second ago, where I have to spread out and not hit people with my circles, this boss has the same thing. And some other mechanics. I'll explain it when I get there. Also, it's important too when you're in dungeons just to go ahead and drop health stones all the time. I know I spam mine constantly, and I want my allies to be able to use them. Okay, so on pull, the boss is going to have this circle here. You cannot walk out of this circle, otherwise he'll pull you in, like he's about to do now. You have to stay in the circle the entire time. He has a big frontal that has to be dodged, and like I was saying 5 seconds ago, he has those debuffs that are put on people. They have the 5 points, and then balls go out from them when you get dispelled. First dodge the frontal, and then we're going to have these debuffs. So my teammates across from me have it. Make sure I don't get hit by the balls. Dodge the frontal. After he does his second frontal, he's going to do some damage to the group. And then after the damage to the group, he's going to drop a giant puddle on the floor. The tank will pull him away, and we have to move as soon as possible. You'll see here, I wasn't paying attention, and I take a bunch of damage. It kills you in 2 seconds, 3 seconds flat. I used my defensives, so I lived. What you're supposed to do is stack on the tank after the boss does his second frontal, because it does the group-wide damage, and then you move with your tank immediately after. You'll see what happens. Here's the group-wide damage. I'm not stacked. I'm kind of on the far side, and the puddle is just going to destroy me. Yeah, awful. I health potion, dark pact, all my cooldown defensives, everything. So from now on, you'll see I learned my lesson the hard way. I will stack after the second frontal. My 2 minutes are coming back up, so I'll go ahead and use them here with my potion and Prime Master's Web, everything. Go to the big AoE damage here, and then I'll move immediately with the tank. I'm not going to stand still. Yeah, Burning Rush, getting out of there. And that's the fight. This frontal, AoE debuffs, frontal, group damage, and then we run. It's quite simple, but definitely can be overwhelming at first. Especially because you're stuck in the small area. I'm in front of the boss on the tank, and then I'm moving immediately. You do not want to be behind him. I've died so many times here because of that. The boss is pretty low, but I go ahead and use my 1 minute cooldowns again just cause. And I use my Mad Queen's Mandate on the Affix there just to kill it so the boss doesn't take any reduced damage. It normally will only do maybe 5 or 6 million damage, that trinket. So I try and kill mobs at 5 or 6 million. The boss had like 5% HP, but the boss at 5% was like 16 or 17 million, so it wouldn't have reset my cooldown to use it on him. So here we go into the, I'm going to call it the maze part. You have to go track down some ad. We always have to kill this guy first, and then he gives us the buff, or we can track those ads. But one thing to note is that, the first ad is always right in front of you. It's always over here. So you can pull this guy, and then you can tag the mob in the back, and it'll like speed it up for you. So having somebody tag it, or your tank grab it, so you can go ahead and cleave both of these at once, is definitely a good way to go about this. This mini boss guy here dies at 50% HP, so he's got dots on him, and I go ahead and start focusing the other ad, because he'll die soon enough. And I go ahead and use my 2 minutes, even though it's really like kind of 1.5 mobs here. I just use them because I don't want to get them off cooldown. I know the next pack is going to be 3 mobs, but it's whatever. I'd rather just kill this as fast as possible and go through it faster. The affix is coming up, and my Mad Queen's Mandate is off cooldown. This trinket is so good for this week's affix. It's crazy. Because it's up pretty much every single time the ad's up, if you time it correctly and get the cooldown reset. But if you get into keys that are plus 12, the affix disappears, so it's quite different. I've failed a few plus 12s this week, unfortunately. And now we're just doing the maze. We had some questionable pings there. A 3 stack, let's go ahead and Seed of Corruption, Vile Taint, apply my other dots, and then Soul Rot. And what's cool is each group like this, you'll be able to have your cooldowns for it. Always 1 minute, and then your 2 minutes on the second set. In total, there are 4 spies to find, including the one we killed earlier with the mini-boss. This is group number 2. Actually, I was wrong. You'll have your 2 minute cooldowns on the first and third, not the second. The affix is coming up. I have my Mad Queen's Mandate coming up. I'll use it for that. I've been experimenting with other trinkets as well, using like the PvP badge trinket, the 1 minute cooldown damage increase, or just other trinkets. And honestly, a lot of trinkets feel really good. It just depends on what you have. one thing about my trinkets is really nice is that they kind of round out my stat priorities. One gives me a bunch of mastery, and one gives me a bunch of crit, which is what I need with my gear, so it's quite perfect actually. I got really lucky with trinkets. We got kind of unlucky. How this maze thing works is that hinting on where the first set of ads spawns, or I guess group 2, whatever, where they spawn, the rest are already predetermined. So if the first one spawns at A, the next ones will spawn in the places that correlate with A. I found a video online. Maybe I can find it and link it in the comments for you. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to doing this maze. I went ahead and sent my cooldowns here because they'll be up on time for the boss. And I just used Mad Queen's Mandate on that ad because the affix wasn't up. So here's a little thing that happened. They just formed a wall. And I was like, what the hell? I couldn't move, so I had to wait. We didn't really lose much time on this, but I found it kind of funny that they just wouldn't let us pass. Gandalf ass shit. But we get through. We will find the last trash pack and I'll pop my 1 minutes on them again and get ready for the boss. The upcoming boss is so fun. I really like this boss. It's quite hectic though. So this set has 4 ads, which is cool because you can pad 4 instead of 3. And I preemptively just press Dark Fact. It's not on the global cooldown and it does a bunch of shielding, so why not just spam it on cooldown. The affix is up. I already have my dots up, so I'm kind of ignoring it until I get my raptures out, and then I'll kill it with my trinket. You see, I'm gonna go ahead and reapply agony. It feels kind of bad, you know, because I go ahead and reapply all my agonies, because Vile Taint isn't up. And then as soon as I finish reapplying agonies, Vile Taint comes off cooldown. It's such an awkward... It feels so weird that the agony duration just falls off when it does. Okay, so one thing I want to say. Whenever you kill the 4th set of the spy ads, this guy will activate. You need to kill the 4th set of ads and then kind of talk to him to go to the boss. How he activates is if you just walk close enough to him, it'll start. So I see the mob has like 5 HP and we're going to kill it. So I just start walking to him to start the RP. We can go to the boss without wasting too much time. And you can see once... One second, let me show you. So he will be orange, kind of like unfriendly, until he works with you. So... Oh, I did mouse over him. His nameplate will be orange. But now I'm mousing over him and he's green. That means the RP has already started, and then you can go ahead and just walk up to the door. And I'll go ahead and drop health stones up here because we have to sit here and wait. Whenever you have time like that, just always drop your health stones. Refill on your own if you need them, or give your allies a chance to as well. I'm checking my overall. Yeah, this boss is really fun because it's just a permanent 2-target cleave, and they get pretty spread sometimes, and that's quite nice. Like great for our damage profile. Plus their abilities feel like anime or some shit. Really, really cool to play against. So we actually almost lose the key on this boss. We have 2 deaths, and it is really, really sus. We get the clutch battle res off and don't die. So in chat here, they say lust on cooldown, and then Druid says no. I didn't read this, so when I go into this pull, I have all my cooldowns up, and I have a 40 stack Spy Master's Web and my potion. For some reason, I didn't read that message, so I see that in 2 minutes we'll have lust. And I know the boss won't be dead by then, probably. So I go ahead and send my 2-minute cooldowns, everything, besides my potion and Spy Master's Web, because I want to use these 2 with lust. I didn't read chat, so later on in the fight, I'll also ask, are we lusting? And they'll be like, no, we just hit that, bro. But, you know, whatever. It ends up working out pretty well for me, actually, because we start almost wiping, so we lust, so it feels pretty good. this boss, you have to dodge their frontals. They'll throw daggers at people, and you kind of need to spread out. These blue things over here. It puts a debuff on you that really hurts. And here's the really cool anime move. They target somebody and dash at the same time. It feels great as an Affliction Warlock, because Rapture, Mythic Rapture has a 100-yard range, so I can always just be rapturing them wherever they are. Yeah, do a few dashes, and they'll come back to the middle here and relocate. Here, the tank is going to get like a giant ice ring around him. You have to soak with the tank in the ice ring. It does a bunch of damage, split among people in it. And once it does a certain amount of damage, it falls off. So we all have to soak it together, otherwise the tank will get obliterated. That's why we're all kind of moving to the middle here. You see these purple discs are coming towards us. They spawn when the boss is through the frontal, and we don't want to stand in them. We're just going to try and walk away. Here we're soaking the ice circle. Save the tank's HP. My 1 minutes are up, but there's mechanics, so I'm not using them. And I'm also thinking about when they're going to pop the lust. So like, I've already missed it by 10 seconds, so I don't want to, you know. I should have just sent them immediately, but I waited. So now I'm curious about it, and then I try and type it. But it's, what I type is unrecognizable. Like, I'm not sure what that's Lusger is supposed to mean, but I don't think they did either, so I type again. And actually, the druid kind of understood. So here we're just playing. There's the big purple beams there. And we're hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to pop my cooldown soon. But the tank right here will take a frontal, and the tank will die. And immediately after he does the frontal, one of them is going to chase the mage. The mage blinks away right when this mechanic starts. So I have the perfect amount of time to battle res and get out. The shaman dies, he reincarnates, and we are like really scuffed. I need to run to the spirit link, but I'm not doing that because I have stuff on me. And the mage sees we are like struggling. Please go ahead. He goes ahead and pops lust for us to catch up. Maybe he also had 40 stacks by Master's Web, who knows. But I appreciated that. I overcapped on soul shards, but I just wanted to go, so I didn't care. They're gonna dash far away from me, and I run to the soul shards, so I'm kind of spamming Rapture, and I can't reach them, so I just target the close one and Shadow Bolt. There we go. That boss is really, really cool, I think. The next boss is really, really boring, I think. I don't like the third boss. But before that, there's a bunch of trash. And generally, these coming up trash packs, tanks love to pull big. The first will clear, like, this first 5-pack, and get rid of it, and then we'll go up. And tanks a lot of times like to pull, 2 packs, and then in this area they'll pull 2 packs, and then they go up some stairs and pull 2 more packs. At least the tanks I played with. And it's really awesome, because you can just do a bunch of AoE damage. Very fun. Go ahead, like always, use Mad Queen's Mandate on the affix. But maybe I should have used it on the Marauder, because that was destroying the tank's HP. Go ahead and kick the guy in the back, so he becomes in groups with the other enemies. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I go ahead and set my cooldowns on this pack, even though they're half HP and they're dead. I straight up think I looked at the DPS meter and saw I was getting clowned on a pack, so I wanted to try and catch up. But that is the stupidest reason ever to use your cooldowns. It was so dumb. Because like I could just use them on the next pack, and then when they have no cooldowns, I can clown them. But for some reason I wanted to catch up. So don't. Yeah. As much as my channel talks about parsing and stuff, don't care about the meter when you're trying to, actually beat a key for the first time. And do what's better for your group when it comes to killing stuff. do as I say, not as I do. And I wasn't really paying attention, so my agonies all start falling off. I try and reapply them, but I miss them all. It feels pretty bad. I'm not really taking damage, but I spam Dark Pact anyways. Also, my cooldowns get out of sync somehow. I'm not sure why, but when I press Dark Glare, and then I go to press my Orc Racial, it never pops. So my cooldowns are definitely out of sync for a while in this dungeon. I go ahead, I kick the ad in the back, so it walks up. Tank pulls these all together. And I don't really have my cooldowns up fully, but they're gonna die, so I kind of just send what I have. I overcap one with Soul Shard there because I got procs, but I need to use my damage before the ads die, so I just go with it. I didn't have a kick for the healing spell, but I figured they're dying anyways, so I'd rather just do damage instead of Shadow Furying them. This trash mob here, this Venom Shell, it's really hard. This mob is just awful. I hate this mob. He does so much group-wide damage, and then he's dropping a bunch of swirlies that are really hard to play around. And he puts a giant poison debuff on you that hits really hard. So making sure you have defensives for this guy, maybe a potion up or your health stone to get through this ad is really important. On hierarchies, you'll definitely need to work with your healer to plan out like who's using what where. Because this debuff hurts. And the swirlies make it really annoying to cast too. Get a bit of reprieve, then he does a big frontal, and then he goes back to being annoying with the big AoE pull with the swirlies. My Soul Rot comes back up here, but I figure I'm not going to be able to cast anyways if I use Soul Rot. So I just pop a defensive and I kind of stand under him. And then by the time he stops doing it, he's like low enough to where if I use my cooldown, it's kind of wasted because he's going to die. So I end up saving my cooldown because I know in the next hallway, the ads there also are just terrible. And I'd rather have something to kill them instead. I do use Mad Queen's Mandate to finish him off though because I hate that mob. These ads here, they do a really annoying knockback. If they get the cast off, it just knocks you back really far. And if you get knocked into these webs, you'll spawn ads. They don't give you percent either, so it's just annoying. So I just put Curse of Tongues on them as we're walking, so it's easier to kick them as we go when they don't have as much time to cast. Then I apply Agony to get some soul shards. Make sure I kick one. Druid stuns them both though, which is nice. And I try and do some damage. But this guy also does this thing where he has really annoying ass swirlies, so I can't do anything. That was really lovely. And he does it again. Great. And I just want to try and do some damage, so I Vile Taint Soul Rot. I overcap on the Soul Shard again. But I just want to try and get my spells off before, you know, I can't. One ad was about to get his cast off. I could have used Shadow Fury there, but I didn't for some reason. Instead, I just single target the one who's going to get his cast off, and I Mortal Coil him to fear him, which works just as well, but if I Shadow Fury, I stun them both. But whatever. Target one, Mortal Coil. And at this time, our mage is also dead. I'm not sure what happened, but he's dead, so we gotta do it without him here, but it's okay. He's still topping the meters anyways. Nice, pack dies just like that. I used my 2-minute cooldowns here, but I know we have to kill the trash first, and I figured they'll be up on the boss, so it's fine. Actually, I used one 2-minute cooldown, because for some reason my Orc Racial just doesn't want to work when I press it. Don't know why. It happens all the time, and it's quite frustrating. The tank wants us to kill that pack, like all the mobs in the middle room. By pulling them up, it's the next pack. I see everybody going down there, and I'm like, bruh, you just said. But I see they're just trying to dot them up, which makes sense. So I also go and copy them. Then we go into this pack here. The really big annoying guy. But luckily he's being annoying to other people, not me. So I can actually get some casts off. Kind of. And for some reason I was targeting the small guy instead of the big guy with my UA, and my dots don't really go on him. But I see all the ads are coming up here and they're all dying, so I just want to get my damage off. I figure using Soul Rot and then damaging a bunch of the small ads is better than getting my 2 dots on the big guy first before I do damage. Because I'm worried the small ones are going to die, and I'll waste my cooldowns for nothing. Use Mad Queen's Mandate, kill the Affix. Okay, so this boss is just really annoying. It's not fun. I don't know. He has a knockback that does a bunch of damage, a stomp, and then he drops the puddles on the ground you don't want to stand in. And then from the edges of the room, some black blood will come in, and it will all go to the boss where he's at. If it reaches the boss, it heals him for like 5% of his HP or something. So we have to soak them, and it puts a big healing absorb on us. And then it drops puddles. So we can't really play around this middle part. What you're supposed to do generally is, on pull, you move the boss, or mose the boss, as I said. You mose him near the wall or a corner, so it's easier to block the orbs as they come in, and the space that becomes unusable is in a corner. See, I'm trying to block these, but this druid has got happy feet, and he's just beating me to all the soaks. But like, I'm getting domed right now, so I go ahead and do my best to stop the tank, stop the boss from getting that orb, while also not dying. But the druid has it under control, so I should just let him do his thing. And I got myself in an awkward predicament. So you saw me make that little journey over here through these. If you stand in this little pool here, that does so much damage. It hits really hard. I'm not sure like if they thought it'd be funny because the boss has a knockback, you get knocked into the pool and you die or whatever. But this area is a trap. Do not step in this ever. So I gotta make my way through here and jump around, but I want to make sure I don't get knocked into the pool. So I go past it, and I don't want to get knocked into these puddles either. I have to health potion because I'm just getting domed, and the damn ceiling makes it so I can't see anything. My cooldown's coming back up, so I try and spend soul shards so I don't overcap. Try and soak the orbs, but the druid got literally all of them. This druid's crazy. Gotta pop my cooldowns, and we can hopefully get out of this fight. This horrible, horrible, terrible, boring fight. And yeah, that pool's on both sides, by the way. So, on this side too, don't go step in it. At this point, I kind of accepted that they're just going to take them, so like, if an orb comes up behind me, I'll just block it, but like, they're more mobile than me, so I'll let them fight for them. They can have them. I have my Mad Queen's Mandate, so I'm going to use it on the Affix here, because we just don't want the boss to get damage absorbs. I use it pretty late though, when she's like low HP, so I could have probably saved it for the boss instead, but oh well. I'm waiting for the knock-up, and then I'll Soul Rot. I'll go ahead. That was very clutch. Last second, the tank saved it. I didn't go soak, and the boss almost got the healing buff. But the Demon Hunter got it last second. So now, just before the last boss, there were 2 big ads, and they give enough percent, so we're good on trash. And these ads, they do the mechanics that the boss does, pretty much. The boss like evolves into like the big spider forms, you know? And one of them is like the skinny caster type, and the one's like the big noob Iraq giant guy type. And by killing these, you'll see what the boss's mechanics are, pretty much. This Umbral Weave, it's an AoE root, and you have to clear them. Right? So we gotta kill the webs. We can actually move around. Web bolts. That's pretty much it for this ad.
Embrace who you truly are.
Healing's really not being my friend right now. Killer, tab target, kill that. I use Mad Queen's Mandate while I'm moving, so I can get in position so my group can help break my webs out, because I have no AoE right now. You can use Mad Queen's Mandate while moving. I love that trinket. Okay, this guy, he has a big AoE damage. I think. Yeah, it's a dot that goes on people. And then he has a giant stomp. When he stomps the ground, he'll also spawn some adds. Those have to be dealt with. And the stomp does a bunch of damage too, so. He spawns these little bugs. We gotta kill them. So I use Vile Taint. I try and use Vile Taint to reapply my agony on the boss, but it falls off, and that's quite sad. But that's pretty much these two trash mobs. Here we take a bunch of damage on the ads, and then we have the debuff going out as well. So it's a lot of incoming damage, but our shaman's on it with his Spirit Link. Affix is up. I have Bad Queen's Mandate, so you know I'm going to kill him with it. I'm fiending to use it. I just want him a bit lower, so it guaranteed resets, and then boom. I pan my camera up to make sure I'm not in the circle. Let me show you that. So, your camera angle is so nice for dodging mechanics. You'll see here, I see the circle spawning. I feel like I'm out of it, but I want to make sure. But I don't want to like stutter step and cancel my cast to make sure without knowing, right? So instead of moving first, I'll just kind of sit here and then pan my camera so I can look like a straight up and down view almost to see that I'm not in the circle. So like, without stopping my casting, I mean, it's obvious from where we just saw it I'm not in it, but making sure without moving and I can still keep my uptime is really nice. Actually, I move anyways. What the hell am I talking about? Never mind. You know what? Ignore that last segment. Whatever. But doing that on boss fights is really nice. If you're on Queen Anstrek and you want to dodge like a web blade or something, or that's how I always play, changing my camera angle. There's health stones, but right in front of the boss where she spawns. So I think we pull the boss and we reset it because I put the health stones in probably the worst position possible. And I tried to type reset and I typed rest, which is kind of like what the shaman wants to do. He wants to get mana, so. Bro, I cannot type. If you ever play with me, you'll see that I can't type anything in party chat. I spell everything wrong. So this boss, he has the same mechanics from those two big ads. He spawns the ads, she spawns the web roots, she does the slam, does big AoE damage. But she also has these three like blue balls, these orbs, that spawn. And we have to dodge those around the room. You'll see I just soulstoned myself before the pull. We have a druid who can also battle res, but generally before a boss fight, I always like to soulstone myself if, you know, it's like a really important boss fight or something, because if I die and there's no other battle res, it's nice to be able to get myself up. The shaman healer can onk if he dies, so it's like whatever. And if the tank dies, I can cast a B-res on him. But if I die, and I don't know, pretend we don't have the druid, pretend we have a warrior or something, you know, and no one can battle res me, then we're just wasting our B-reses. So having a soulstone on yourself is also pretty good sometimes. It just depends. So I'll go ahead, get ready to luster. So there's these blue orbs I'm talking about. How you do this boss is you kind of just walk in a circle around the room clockwise, like my tank was saying in chat. These orbs, it'll spawn blue circles on the ground where the orbs are going to go to, and they fly there. And if you're in between them on their way to where they're going, it will pretty much kill you. I think it does kill you. I think I get hit by one and I use my defensives and don't die. It's designed to kill you, so make sure you're following the tank. There's a lot of movement in this fight, so it feels kind of bad as a caster. You'll see I haven't used my cooldowns because I'm waiting here. She'll do the Umbral Weave or the Slam. I'm not sure which one. But Umbral Weave is the roots where we get stunned and it spawns the webs we have to kill. And then Tremor Slam is the one where she spawns those like 4 little bug ads. Either way, I want to let my Fire Master's Web build up a few more stacks. And I want to kind of cleave on the ads, so my Soul Rat has max value. So I'm just going to go ahead. We have Lust going, but I'm waiting for my cooldowns for another 10 seconds, which is fine, because I'll still have the entire duration of Lust for my cooldowns. It's the Slam this time. So, camera angle sucks right now. I'll let the ads grouped up. So I'll Vile Taint, so I'll pop everything. And my potion comes up pretty much on time too. And that, there, I get hit by an orb here, I think. Yeah. And it's 80% of my HP. So there's the puddles, right? You dodge these. We're getting rooted here. I was definitely not paying attention to the root, so I didn't save soul shards. So I'm kind of hoping someone else can bail me out. I have Mad Queen's Mandate here. I see he's gonna die if we don't get him out of this. So I target his web. The Mad Queen's mandated. But then I realize he's a shaman, so he's kind of does shaman shit and gets out of it. So, like, whatever. I tried, but he didn't need it. The last mechanic for this boss I didn't mention is the tank soak. The boss targets the tank with this thing, and it hits him really damn hard. So just don't be on the tank, and that's about it. Oh my god, that's lagging. Sorry. I'm trying a new video software. You'll see the next mechanic's coming up soon. If she's gonna spawn ads or webs, she's doing the ads. So I can go ahead and drop some full shards so I don't overcap. Then when the ads get closer, I'll go ahead and Vile Taint them, Soul Rot, but I have to dodge the circles first. And dodge that circle, and then I can cast. We have the Affliction spawning, and I got dodge circle, and then we're getting rooted. This fight is quite hectic. And like, if you don't kill these in time, before the balls come, you're like super doomed. Luckily my group had damage for those. Because honestly my plan was to just use a defensive and try and live. Depending on your group, like what you have, it honestly is probably better to save your cooldowns for the webs, the ads, but I kind of just wanted to cleave them, if I'm being straight up honest. I was pretty confident in this group, and I was also confident if I used wall, I wouldn't die to the ball. And you see I'm just kind of chasing the group now. From the ads again, but the boss is low enough to where we'll just kill her. I use Mad Queen's Mandate just to do some damage. And then, bada bang. There you go. This group is really good, so I'm flattering them with some compliments. Yeah, so that key went really well. It was really fun, and this group did a great job. Honestly, before today, I didn't really like this dungeon, except for the second boss. But I actually kind of ended up liking it after this one. It was a good key, a good run. And yeah, I ended up doing 1.41 million DPS. I felt pretty happy with that. And if you have any questions about this key or anything else, please leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you later.